Okay. What's the difference? The Gemara. We're on Daf Mem Bet. Albert, make me a cup of coffee. Gemara on Daf Mem Bet Amud Aleph. The Gemara starts. Rav Huna, we're talking about Pata Ba'abek Isnim, about Mizonot. So the Gemara says, Rav Huna, Achal Telesar Rifte. He ate 13 breads. Pene Tlata Tlata Bekaba. The breads were 3 to a kav. A kav is 24 bitzim. Probably the baker charged 10 bitzim, 12 bitzim for baking it, like half. So 12, each one is like 3 bitzim. It was a big meal, no question. Velo barich. And he didn't make a beracha. No, that's the question. What didn't he say? Amale Rav Nachman. Rav Nachman told him, Adeh kafna. Adeh, Rashi says, is elu kafna. These you ate when you were hungry. Hazal baruch, so you're still hungry. He says, Kol ela, kol sha, so what should I do? Kol sha'achirim kovim alav seudah. As long as others make their meal on it, tzarich levarech, you have to make the beracha. Rashi says, Rav Huna achal talei sarifte mipata ba'a bekesnin velo birecha harav, he didn't make a beracha harona. Amar Rav Nachman ade kafna garsinan ade elu kilumar elu l'ra'avon ne'echalu, you ate these to your hunger. Va'achila miruba kazu, such a large meal lo nefteret mi beracha, is not patur from the beracha. Ela, what? He ate a lot. He ate 13 breads. Each one was 3 in a kav. It's a lot. Now, it's a lot of bitzim. Kol sha'achirim kovim achilatan beka. It's either 8 bitzim or 4 bitzim. No, each bread. It's a lot of them. No, he had 13 of them. Kol sha'achirim kovim achilatan bekach. If other people, even though they're eating mizonot bread or mizonot cookies, whatever, would make that into their meal, ta'um birkat hamazon, it needs birkat hamazon. Kach piresh Rav Hai. That's what Rav Hai made. So according to Rav Hai, this kol sha'achirim regilim lekboa is the same like we said by the on Daf Lamed Chet by the Kuba de Ar'a. The Gemara says. V'ikava morzutra kava seudate ilave ubirech al ilave hamotzi lechem min haaretz v'shalosh berachot. Also over there you see something that's mizonot. If you make a kiviyut seudah, you make hamotzi. So too over here, according to Rav Nachman, if you eat enough that other people would make a meal of it, you have to make hamotzi and birkat hamazon. Rashi tells us, "V'rabotenu pirshu." My rabbis explained to lesar rifte mipat shelanu. He ate 13 breads of bread. V'lo birecha harav. He didn't make birkat hamazon. Mishum telo sava, because he wasn't full. V'kira ketiv ve'achalta ve'sava'ata u'berachta. The pasuk says you have to be full. Not only that, the Kach Piresh Rav Yehudai b'halachot gedolot. That's how Rav Yehudai Gaon explained in the halachot gedolot, that you have to be full. He was hungry. Ve'enu nir'ali, says Rashi, doesn't make sense to me. Telet le Rav Huna v'hem ihmiru al atzmam ad kazayit v'ad kabetza delo kirbi imir v'lo kirbi Yehuda. What do you mean? That's only midoraita. Midrabanan, you have to make a beracha. Right? So that's the question that they have. So there's two explanations that you could say. One explanation to be miyashev the shitav the bahag and rabutav shel Rashi is that the question was he ate 13 loaves. They told him, Rav Huna, you're the gadol ador, you make the zimun. He said, I'm not hayav midoraita because I'm still hungry. Why should I make if I'm only the Rabbanan and you're Hiyuv de Oraita? Even though the Gemara says once you ate a kazayit pot, you could be motzi. He didn't want to be somech. That's a question later.
Where did they get that from? The Gemara doesn't say anything about Zimun.
What? Okay, lo barich meaning, but what does lo barich mean? What does lo barich mean? He didn't make some beracha. He didn't make al mehya. He didn't make borei nefashot. So something is missing. So maybe he didn't say Birkat HaMazon for the people, but he was Yotzei with the Zimun. I don't know. Could be anything. That's one shot. The Pnei Yoshua wants to explain like this, that when you say that hem mehmir al atzman ad kazayit ad kabetza, says maybe that's only if you ate a kazayit of bread and you were full from other things. But he was he wasn't full. He was still starving. He could have had another 12 or 13 breads. So maybe he held that patur gamre. I don't know what happened. Maybe he fasted for 16 weeks. I don't know what he did. He was very hungry. I don't know if it was one time or not one time, but he was hungry. He needed strength. He needed strength to learn Torah. What do you want?
How does that help him? He's still Chayav D'Rabbanan.
What?
What's the difference if he's not full?
He knows. He's not. He's telling you that this way you Hayav D'Rabbanan is only when you're full from other things. But if you're bichlal hungry, maybe you have to can't make a beracha. As the Pnei Yoshua has such an idea. Okay. Tosaf, the Ritva is bothered. What's lo barich? What did he make? It says in Pashtus you say he didn't make Birkat HaMazon. He made borei al mechya. So it doesn't say that. But he made borei. According to Rashi learns that on Pata Baba Kisnim you make borei nefashot. It's good because that's velo klum. But according to what's it called Tosfot, it's a problem. Okay, it's not meduyak in the sugya. The sugya doesn't say clearly. All right. The Gemara says further, Rav Yehuda bar Habiba, Aiti lekamaihu, they brought in front of him and I guess some other people, Pata ba'abe kisnin. Right? Ki ata, when he came, Sham'inu de kamivarche hamotzi. He heard them saying hamotzi on the Pata ba'abe kisnin. Amarlu, he told them, my tzitzi de kashamana. Why am I hearing hamotzi? What's this hamotzi? Dilma hamotzi lechem min haaretz kamevarchitu. You guys making hamotzi over here? Amri le'in. They said, yeah. Tetanya Rabbi Mona Omer Amar Mishum Rabbi Yehuda. Mona said, name Rabbi Yehuda. Pata ba'abe kisnin. Mevarchim alav alei hamotzi. You make a hamotzi on pata ba'abe kisnin. The Amar Shmuel, and Shmuel said, halacha kirbi Mona. The halacha is like Rabbi Mona. Amar lehu, he told them, en halacha ke Rabbi Mona etmar. No, they said, Shmuel said the halacha is not like Rabbi Mona. Amri le, they told him, v'ha morhu de amar mishme de Shmuel. Aren't you the one that quoted Shmuel as saying, lahmaniyot, some type of mizonot item, me'arvim bahem, u'mevarchim alehem hamotzi, you can make an eruv with them, and you can make hamotzi on it. So Gemara says, Shani hatam de kava seudate alayu. When I said lahmaniyot, you're allowed to make hamotzi on, I was talking when you koveh seudah. Aval eichad de lo kava seudate alayu. When you're not making your meal on it, lo, you don't make birkat hamotzi. You can't make hamotzi. That's really the end of the sugya, and that's what we hold. Right? That you only make hamotzi and birkat hamazon on pata ba'abe kisnim if you kava seudata alayhu. What does it mean, kava seudata alayhu? So that's a mahloket in itself. Some say kava seudate alayhu means that you that's lunch. That's all I'm eating. Others say no, that the kava seudate is the level that you ate, like over here. Like Rav Yehuda said, says shi'ur she'acherim kovim alav suda. You ate an amount that other people would make it a meal. So it's not taluyin what you're doing. It's taluyin, are you eating an amount that's normally eaten as a meal? What's that amount? So we understand that the pras, right, shi'ur achilat pras, is that amount. What's a shi'ur achilat pras? A pras is a meal. 1 meal, 2 meals. What's a pras? So the famous siman is Rashi and Rambam. Rashi holds it's four bitzim, and Harambam holds it's 3 bitzim. Why? Because you go by the letters of their name. Rashi holds it's 4. Why is Rashi 4? Because his name is Shlomo. Rambam is 3 because he's 4 because he's Moshe. Okay. It's a good way so you can keep you confused. Even if you know the siman, you get confused. So you have to remember the name and not the acronym. Moshe is 3, Shlomo is 4. Maran doesn't posek. So therefore, like the Hidah says, between 3 to 4, you should try. Yeah. Even if you like Rav Huna. Rav Huna was starving after 13, but he told them, Hajj, what everybody eats is what everybody eats. Rav Huna was Chaylech Leoraita. Now, if you have one, even though you're full, you don't have. That's the way the Sfaradim do it. Ashkenazim, they have their own business. They say if you're eating it, the meal, with other things, without other things. But the Sfaradim, it's only if you're eating the bread and you're eating a full shi'ur from the Pata Ba'abikizni. A lot of the stuff that they say mizonot doesn't smell or taste mizonot. In order to be mizonot, it has to be either sweet or whatever. You taste it, most of the time you can't tell. If you have to read the bag to know it's mizonot, you have a problem. Okay. The Gemara says, Rav Huna, let's see, Rav Papa, Ikla lebe Rav Huna bered Rav Natan. Rav Papa got to the house of Rav Huna bered Rav Natan. Patar de gamar seudatayu. After they finished eating, aitu lekamayu midi lemecha. They brought him what to eat. So they finished, or he thought they were finished. They brought him out something else. Shakar Rav Papa v'ka'achal. Rav Papa started eating it. Amri le. So they told him, Lo savar la mor. Don't you hold. Gamar, when you finished your meal, asur mila echol, you're not allowed to eat without another beracha. Or Rashi says, Gamar asur mila echol ad shivarech birkat hamazon, v'yachzor v'yivarech ala ba lefanav, and then make a new beracha. Tikivan de Gamar, once he finished, asach da'atem mi bracha rishona u'misudatem. He took his mind off of his first beracha, so that beracha is off u'misudatem from the meal. Why you have to make birkat hamazon? Why can't you just make another beracha rishona? Not clear, right? So he says, Amar le silek etmar. No, it's not gamar. It's only silek when they pulled away the table. Rashi, im silek alechem v'kol ha'ochel ma'al ha'shulchan. If they took the bread and all the food off the table, ve'adayin lo birchu, and they didn't make the beracha, asu melechol. Rabba ve'Rabbi Zeira, ikal'u leberesh gluta. They got to the Resh Geluta's house. Lebatar desliku taka mikamayu. After they took away the table, shadru le ristena or distena mi beresh geluta. They sent him out some special dessert or some special item from the Resh Geluta's house. Rava achil. Rava ate it. Now l'chaura, how do you eat it? Hare, they took away the table. You told me gamar is not the item. What's the item? Take away the table. They took away the table, and yet Rava ate the item. But Rabbi Zera lo achil. Rabbi Zera didn't eat it. Amar lei. So Rabbi Zera told Rava, lo savar la mor silek asumi le'echol. Don't you hold that if they took away the table, you're not allowed to eat? Amar lei. Anana taka deresh geluta samchinan. We're not in our own house. We're not up to ourselves. We're relying on what the Resh Geluta does. They take away nothing means anything. I'm relying on them. My da'ah is batel to them. And that's the halacha. Look at Rashi. Ve'en silukenu siluk. Sheda'atenu yisam masot me'et panav elenu. If he's going to send us some other item, nochal, we'll eat it. So this is generally, when you buy someone else's house, it's always on his call. Whatever he says, finish. You don't know what you're doing. Whatever comes out. The question is, are you even in charge at home? Because your wife is in charge. Well, we assume that a man is the king of his castle. But most of the time, why does he know what's going on in the kitchen? What? In which generation was the guy in charge of the kitchen? Never. The kitchen is the lady's territory. She picks up, you stay out of my kitchen. You don't know what's going on. So therefore, but Ma'aseh, when you're in charge of your meal and you're finished, you're finished. Masha'enkin, when you buy someone else, nah. Tosafot brings a proof from here, a very classic quote. Mi sheshachach ataka deresh geluta samchinan. Mi sheshachach le'echol afikoman. Someone forgot to eat the afikoman. Ve'amar havlan v'nivrich. And he already started saying zimun. So l'chaora, at that point, he's not allowed to eat anymore. So now we forgot to eat afikoman. Okay. Right? So now, does he have to wash again and make hamotzi or not? So he says, Eno heseh hadat. Why? The anan atakadra hamana samchinan. We're on Hashem's table. Hashem says, you're not finished till you eat afikoman. Okay. Nice word.
So when it comes to the kids, they could be relying on the mother.
The kids probably, yeah. Or same thing. You're still on Hashem. He first of all, he didn't say, he said havlan v'nivrich.
Obviously, you didn't mind Maharonim.
Maybe, yeah, maybe no.
But even if you're a guest by somebody, you didn't mind Maharonim. What do you mean? You can't eat after Maharonim.
That's because you put it in your mind.
It could be it's a Mayim Maharonim b'ta'ut also. I don't know that that's impossible. Okay. Amar Rav, haragil b'shemen. If someone usually puts oil on his fingers before he makes birkat hamazon, shemen me'akevo. So even though he said havlan v'nivrich, or he finished eating, but if he didn't put the oil, it means he's not finished. Look at Rashi. Haragil b'shemen lemshoach yadav achar achila, shemen me'akevo le'inyan beracha. She'afilu gamar v'silek v'lo mashach yadav adayin su'uda kayemet ve'ochel b'lo beracha. Says the Gemara, Amar Rav Ashi, ki avinam be Rav Kahana, when we used to learn by Rav Kahana's yeshiva, Amar Lan, he said, Kegon Anan, like us, the Regilinam b'mishcha, that we, what's it called? And we always put on oil on our hands. Mishcha me'akeva alan. The mishcha holds us back from losing the beracha. V'le tilcheta ki kol hanishmata. We don't hold like these statements that we had. Rashi, en siyum se'udah talui. The end of the meal doesn't depend. Lo bigmar, velo besiluk, velo beshemen. Doesn't make a difference if you're finished, if you select the table, if you put the shemen, all nonsense. Ela b'mayim haronim. Everything depends on mayim haronim. Kol zeman shelo natal mayim haronim, hu mutar le'echol. He's allowed to eat. Umi shenatal, once he made mayim haronim, Achur asur le'echol, he's not allowed to eat. Right? How do I know that? Ela ki ha, the Amar Bichia bar Ashi Amarav. Shalosh tekifoten. There's three things that are tekef. They have to be done right away. Tekef l'simicha shechita. Right after they make this smicha in the Beit HaMikdash, they have to make the shechita. Tekef l'geula tefila. Right after you say Ga'al Yisrael, you start the Amidah. Tekef l'ntilat yadayim beracha. And right after you make Mayim Haronim, you have to start Birkat HaMazon. So therefore you can't eat, you have to say Birkat HaMazon right away. Amar Abaye. Abaye says, Af anu numar, we'll say a word also. Tekef l'talmidei chachamim beracha. As soon as you bring a Talmid Chacham to your house, you get a beracha. Shnei Emar, like it says, Vayevarecheni Hashem biglalecha. Hashem blessed me in your wake when you right after you come. Rashi, Tekef l'talmid chacham, hamakrivo elav u'me'arecho bebeto, and you host him in your house. Beracha bebeto, you get blessing in your house. Yeah, preferably you should.
Talking maybe, or
There's definitely no hefsek talking, but you also shouldn't. What's it called? You really shouldn't wait. Tosafot says in Masechet Sotah, 22 amot. 22 amot is precious little. 10 seconds, 15 seconds. 10 seconds. Okay. These three things are tekiv.
Yeah, you're right there. There's no reason to stop. But over here,
Rashi says, "Lentilat yadayim debayim maharonim birkat hamazon, v'lo yochal klum ad shivarech al mezono." Reb Kiva Eger in the Gilyon Hashah says, "Ken mevuar besugyan." It's clear in the sugya that we're talking about my maharonim. Aval b'midrash Rabbah devarim, and in the Yerushalmi Perek Aleph Halacha Aleph of Berachot. Mevuar dekai al berachat netila rishonah. It's going on Maim Rishonim. How do I know? Because the Yerushalmi says whoever is mekayem tekiv lentila beracha, he won't have a damage in that meal. Now it's clearly talking before you start. It's after you did it, either you got damaged or you didn't get damaged. So al korchach, the Yerushalmi learns tekiv lentila beracha on the what's it called, but the Bavli is learning tekiv lentila beracha on my maharonim.
You can say damage in digesting the meal.
Nitila, sure, why not? Yeah. Notel yadav, you wash it. Okay. The Gemara, that's the Gemara to the Mishnah. Tosafot says, Tekiv l'ntilat. I think this is a theme throughout the sugya. Tekiv l'ntilat yadayim beracha v'hilkach therefore, kevan shenatal yadav ba'aharona le'achar seudah. Once he made my maharonim, asur le'echol, he's not allowed to eat, ad shivarech, until he makes birkat hamazon, or until he makes another beracha. Vuadin im amar havlam v'nevrich, afilu belo netila. Or if he said havlam v'nevrich, the same thing, even without making netila, is asur. So Tosafot learns that havlam v'nevrich and my maharonim have the same effect. Silek. Okay. Next Mishnah. Birech al hayayin shelefnei hamazon. If he made a beracha on the wine before the meal, patar et hayayin shel achar hamazon. It covers the wine after the meal. Now, after the meal does not mean after birkat hamazon. It means after you finish eating before birkat hamazon. Look in Rashi. Berech al hayayin, nohagim hayu lavi kodem achila. Their custom was to bring before they ate kos yayin, a cup of wine, l'shtot, to drink. Kedetanya lekaman, like we learn later. Keitzad seder heseba. What's the order of a meal? So he says umeviim lefnehem parperaot. So they would have wine before the meal, and they would bring them appetizers, lamshich achila, to get them in the mood of eating. Kegon pargiot v'dagim, like chicken pieces and fish. V'harkach mevi'im hashulchan. Then they would bring the table. Ulahar gemar seudah. After they finished eating, yoshvim v'shotim. They would sit and drink. Ve'ochlim, and they would eat. Umayin ochlim, what they eat? Parperaot, little snacks. Kegon kisne, like nuts. The ma'alul liba, that's healthy for your heart. V'lachmani has the omegas. V'lachmaniot, and little cookies, yeah. Vehu yain parperet shel achar hamazon. That's the yain and the parperet that we talk about after the mazon. V'shnehem, both of these things, kodem birkat hamazon, is before birkat hamazon. Now it's funny because on the page before, Rashi said, le'achar achila birkat hamazon hayu regilim lavi kisnin. Kanere, sometimes they did it before and sometimes they did it after. Over there, Rashi explained it after because that fit the sugya over there. And over here, Rashi spoke about the one before because that fits the sugya over here. That's what you have to say. So the Gemara says, again, Berech al hayayin shelefnei hamazon. He made a beracha on the wine that they drank before the meal. Patar et hayayin shel achar hamazon. The wine you drink after the meal doesn't need a beracha. Kiddush is the same. Berach ala parperet. If he made a beracha on the appetizers before the meal, assuming that they're mezonot, pataret a parperet shel achar hamazon. It covers the parperet which is after the meal. Now again, we're talking about something that would not be covered by the beracha of hamotzi. Since you're eating it after the meal, it needs beracha rishona and a harona, like we said.
Like when you're getting off the table.
Then they make it bread, and then they make.
Then after they finished eating, they cleared the table, they took away the bread. Now they're eating snacks. So, right. But the wine covers the wine. Now the wine wouldn't be covered because of the seudah, but it's covered from the wine. And the parperaot is not covered because of the seudah, because it's not part of the meal, it's dessert. But because you made a beracha on some sort of snack before, that covers it. That's what he says. No, it's not poter. Why is it not poter? Because it's what's it called? Because it's not part of the meal. Like Rashi said, like we said on the page before. En lecha davar sheta'um beracha lefneim ve'en ta'um beracha el pataba bekisnin. The pataba bekisnin, Tosafot says it needs a beracha before because you're not eating it because of the meal. But it doesn't need a beracha after because Birkat HaMazon covers it. That's when you're eating it during the meal. If you eat it after the meal, it's totally separate. It needs beracha rishona harona. Berach ala pat. If he made a beracha on the bread, patar et parperet. It covers the parperet that you eat during the meal. Ala parperet. But if he makes a beracha on the parperet, lo patar et pat, it doesn't cover the bread. So Rashi says, and Rashi doesn't say anything. Tosafot says, birach ala pat patar et parperet. Now we switch, because in the beginning we were talking about parperet before the mazon and parperet after the mazon. Now we're talking about a third type of parperet during the mazon. During the meal. If the parperet is after the meal, Papa holds stuff that comes after the meal. Rashi Piresh over here that parperet is mineh dagim upargiot. Now Rashi said that about a different case, right? B'ktzat kasher imken my kamash balan. If you're thinking parperet is only a shakol thing, what's the chidush de birech ala parperet de lo patar et apat? Shakol is going to cover the bread. V'nireh kepirush Rabbeinu Hananel. The piresh parperet pat tzenuma beke'ara. It's little breadcrumbs that you put in the plate. Teled bu turita denahama. They don't have a form of bread anymore. They were cooked and they're not bread anymore. Demivarchim ale boreh mine mezonot. So you make a mezonot and it comes from bread. So there's a reason to assume that it should at least cover it, right? V'hashtanicha de'itzterich lashmuinam. Berach ala parperet, that if he made a beracha on the parperet lo patar tapat, he doesn't cover the bread. Afagav duhumim pat, even though it's a bread, but since it's broken down and whatever, it doesn't cover. So the Gemara Mishnah continues. Berach, he made a mizonot, but mizonot is very close to hamotzi. I wanted to cover. Let it cover it. No. Since it's not a hamotzi, and you didn't make it on the, it's not. He's not saying that if you made a mizonot on the bread, it wouldn't cover it. But if I made him, like we said before, if you made a hadama on ha'etz, it covers. But not if you made a hadama on ha'adama, does it cover the ha'etz? Right? If you ate a carrot, we don't say, you made a hadama, don't make a beracha on the apple. We don't say that. Same thing here. You made a mizonot on the parperet. We don't say don't bother making a hamotzi. It doesn't cover. But when you made a hamotzi, it covers the parperet. You don't have to make a mizonot. Parperet is like some sort of appetizer. It's an appetizer that he's eating during the meal. Now, the question is, what else is parperet? So Tosafot says it's a mizonot thing. So does that mean that pat is only covering mizonot, or does it mean it even covers a mizonot? Because beforehand, on the page before, we saw the Tosafot that says, Al kem pireshri, in the middle of the Tosfot on the page before Hilchita, Devarim aba'im betoch ha'seuda mehamat ha'seuda. Al kem pireshri, Devarim aba'im mehamat ha'seuda, kelomar harigilim lavo mehamat ha'seuda bepat. Stuff they eat along with bread, leochlanim pat, kegon basar, dagim, kol ma'aseh kedera. Ve'vi'im b'toch hasuda. If you eat it during the meal, en to'nim beracha lefnem v'lacharehem. Doesn't need a beracha before or after. So what's parperet? This is parperet. It's not parperet. Either of Tosfot saying mizonot is parperet. Tosfot wants parperet to be mizonot. No, I'm not eating it.
This way you can match together.
You eat it during the meal to fill yourself up. Doesn't mean only that you're eating with bread. That's what Rashi said. That when we say that stuff that you eat during the meal is patur, is only what you eat with the bread. Tosafot says that's ikar and tafel. I don't need the chidush over here. So Tosafot says no. When we say stuff that comes for the meal means stuff that you eat to be full. You eat as a meal. Now, in that case, it includes chicken and meat and rice and stuff, even though I don't eat it with the bread. Now, and Tosafot says you have over here birach alapat patar taparperet. Right? That's not because of ikar and tafel. It's a different reason. Sounds like that's over here. That's including all these other things. Then when you say birach alaparperet patar tapat, Tosafot wants it to be a mizonot. So it includes everything. Includes mizonot and it includes also the shakol. But Rashi doesn't say anything. I don't know. Rashi doesn't tell you how he's explaining this piece. Maybe. It could be. Right, because Rashi said afterwards, "Ochlim parpera o kisni v'lachmaniot." So it's not only pargiot. Let's go. So the Gemara says, "Hayu." Continue. Bet Shammai Omrim. Bet Shammai says, "Ala parperet." You made a beracha on the parperet on the appetizer. Lo patar tapat. It doesn't poter the bread. Bet Shammai Omrim. Bet Shammai says, when I say you're not poter, it's not even poter ma'aseh kedera. Not only is it not poter the bread, or it's not even poter the porridge that you're eating. We'll see. It's not clear what Bet Shammai means. Hayu yoshvim. New point. Hayu yoshvim. They were sitting to eat, but they weren't leaning. In the old days, when you had a real meal, you leaned like we do by the seder. Even better, they really knew how to lean. We lean by the seder. We're uncomfortable. They were more comfortable when they leaned. Hayu yoshvim. If they were sitting without leaning, so since they're not fixed, they didn't get to leaning. Echad mevarech le'atzmo. Kol echad mevarech le'atzmo. Everybody has to make their own beracha. Beracha rishona and beracha harona, Tosafot says. So you want to make hamotzi for the whole family. In those days, if you weren't leaning, you couldn't do it. Everybody makes his own hamotzi. You want to make zimun? Only if you're leaning. That's the rules of thing. In order to be mitzaref, in order to come together, you have to really be together. It has to be that you're leaning. Hesebu, when they leaned, echad, for sure not standing up. Hesebu, when they're leaning, kol echad mevarech le'atzmo. Then everybody may, echad mevarech lechulam. Then, what? No, beracha rishona, and beracha harona. With zimun. Tosafot says, Hesebu echad mevarech lechulan, ve'anu en lanu heseba. We don't lean. Ela, en lanu heseba, ela bepat bilvad. The only time we can make a beracha is by bread. We don't hold like that. Upat mehani afilu belo heseba. And bread works even without leaning. The davka leditu, for them, shayu ochlim beseba, that they normally ate leaning, hayu tzirichim beseba, they had to lean. Ela yeshiva shelanu, but when we're sitting, have kivi'ut lanu, that's fixed for us, keseba ditu, like when they leaned. Shehem hayu regilim, kol echad le'asev al mitato, each guy lined on his own bed, ve'al shulchano, with his own table. Aval achshav, but now, kulanu ochlim al shulchan echad, we all eat on the same table. When we eat together, that puts us together. You need heseba ubem bebirkat hamazon. We're going to see in a minute. בברכת המוצאים היית פליגי ביין. ומיהו? בני אדם האוכלים בדרך, if they're walking and eating, ולא ישבו and they didn't sit, כל אחד מברך לעצמו. Okay. Now,
What was it, 800 years ago, 1,000 years ago?
it's 800 years ago. So, but we didn't change the system. We still on the table when we eat. Okay. Says Gemara. Mishnah Hayu Yoshvim, if they were sitting, Kol Echad Mevarech Latzmo. Hisebu, when they lean, Echad Mevarech Likulam. One guy makes a bracha for everybody. Ba'alahem Yayin Betoch HaMazon. If, while they're eating, they got wine and they have to make a bracha on it, Kol Echad Ve'echad Mevarech Latzmo. In that case, even though they're leaning, everybody has to make his own bracha. The Gemara is going to explain why. Le'achar HaMazon, if it came after they ate, or while they're just sitting around, in that case, Echad Mevarech Likulam. Then one person can make the beracha for all of them. Vehu, and the guy that makes the beracha on the wine, Omer ala mugmar. He's going to say the beracha on the bisamim that comes after. Ve'afal pi she'en mevi'im mugmar ela le'achar ha'seudah. Even though they bring the mugmar after the meal, even so, the guy that said on the yayin after the meal says on the mugmar, because hamatchil b'mitzvah, the guy that started the berachot haronot finishes them. Yeah. It's tails the seudah. They used to do it. A good smell. I can't tell you why, because we didn't do it. Okay. No, it's after the zimun. So they do. What should I tell you? Amar Rabba, but you're asking why should he connect it? I don't know. It seems like it's connection. Amar Rabba Bar Chana Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Lo shanu. This is what we say if you made a beracha on the wine before the meal. It covers the wine after the meal. Ela b'Shabbatot v'yamim tovim. Only on Shabbat and Yom Tov. Ho'il ve'adam kovea seudato layayin. Since it's normal to drink wine before the meal, after the meal, so therefore we assume that when you made the beracha on the wine before the meal, you had in mind to drink after the meal. Aval b'shar yemot Bish'ar Yemot HaShana. What's that? You have a question?